Budget codes identify the budget, define controls, and determine for which chart of accounts and dimension type the budget is created. Let's take a look at adding a budget structure in your system. To add a budget code, select the Budgets function under the Setup menu. To add a new budget code, click New in the right-hand panel. Enter in your budget code. It can be up to 3 characters. Then enter in a description and a short description. You can determine whether your budget is for your company or your site. I will make mine for my company. Then enter in your currency. You can enter in your currency divisor and choose whether it's going to be an operating budget or an analytical budget. The control type will determine whether there is no budget. Annual, the budget control will be performed globally across the financial year. Period, the budget control will be performed by a period. Sliding, the budget control is performed across the validation start and end date and can span across the financial year. And accumulated, that means that the budget, if it's not totally consumed in one month, the remainder will be added to the next month. I'm going to make mine annually. I can also have budget adjustments. If I select none, then only entry transactions can be used to enter budget amounts. If I select manual, then I can use the miscellaneous operations function to enter budget amounts. If I select complete, I can use entry transactions or the budget miscellaneous operations function to enter in my budget amounts. I can have a validity start and end date, and then I also want to associate it with a chart of accounts. If I don't know my chart of accounts, I can always click on my looking glass and look it up. I also define which dimension types I want to add my dimension for. I'm going to select my cost center, and I'm going to select training. I can also determine what version I want. I can have multiple versions for my budget if I want to create a version number. My status can be open or closed. It can be final, but I can or not, and I can only have one version be my final version, and I can also make one be my default, and I can only have one default. Once I have all my information entered in, I click Create in my right-hand panel, and I've added my new budget structure. In this lesson, you have learned that budget codes define the budget for a specific company or site, determine the budgetary controls applied to the budget such as annual, period, sliding, or accumulated, and finally associate it with a specific chart of accounts and dimension types.